Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, John. All right, good evening and welcome to Monday, February the 19th, 2024, to our City Council meeting. Our invocation will be given by Councilmember John Perkins, who will give our invocation. And please stand for the invocation and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for your goodness, Lord, as we come before you. We ask that your blessings and your wisdom and your guidance will be bestowed upon us as a council as we move forward making these decisions, that we can do it in respect and honor and glory. We thank you for those that are gathered here, Lord, that they are here to participate and to watch in the government and governing of our city. Father, more importantly, we come to you and we ask that your goodness and guidance will be upon this city. For the needs and the stress that falls upon this city are many. We ask for your blessing, we ask for your enrichment, and we ask for all your wisdom. In your Son's holy and sacred name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any citizens' requests? Madam City Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Fears.
Here.
Perkins.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
McCandless. Hobart.
Here.
Mayor Rowland.
Here. Thank you. And Madam City Clerk, do we have any citizens' requests for this evening?
We do not.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. That will bring us to our proclamation. Would you like to read the proclamation? Thank you. This is a proclamation for Engineer Week.
Whereas engineers provide the talents and skills necessary to analyze and solve complex problems and create the infrastructure essential for the high quality of life of which the citizens of Independence, Missouri enjoy. And whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry of Independence, Missouri is vital to the efficient planning, design, construction, and operation of the public infrastructure, which includes water, sanitary, and storm sewers, streets and highways, bridges, public buildings, communications, and electricity, and natural gas distribution. And whereas the health, safety, welfare, comfort, and economic vitality of this community, as well as the success of various citywide construction projects. And whereas engineers address the major technological challenges of our time, from rebuilding towns devastated by natural disasters to designing infrastructure that will take the city of Independence through the 21st century. And whereas there exists in the Kansas City, Missouri metropolitan area, one of the nation's largest collection of engineering firms, of which are known and recognized worldwide as leaders in their profession, and whereas the Western chapter of the Missouri Society of Professional Engineers, in partnership with the Eastern chapter of the Kansas Society of Professional Engineers, are celebrating the 73rd Annual Engineers Week through a ceremonious luncheon at the Marriott Hotel in downtown Kansas City on February 22nd. And whereas the week of February 18th, 2024 has been designated worldwide as the 73rd Annual National Engineers Week. Now, therefore, I, Rory Rowland, Mayor of the City of Independence, on behalf of the citizens of this great city and the City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of February 18th, 2024 as Engineers Week in Independence, Missouri, and call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing quality infrastructure and to recognize the significant contributions which our engineers make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Independence, Missouri to be affixed this 19th day of February, 2024.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Mitch Kreise, come on forward and accept the proclamation for the engineers. And this brings us to the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Please proceed.
point of privilege real quick.
Absolutely.
You know, we obviously had a great success citywide with the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl, of course. But not even a week ago, then, of course, we suffered a great tragedy, sort of as a community. You and I and several of the council are good friends with Beto Lopez, who's the mayor pro tem in Lee Summit. Also, he's the CEO of Guadalupe Center, which does so much great charity work in the community. It was his sister, Lisa Lopez Galvin, that was murdered, and of course, 2 of her children were shot. I wondered if I might make a motion to just have a brief moment of silence in recognition.
Absolutely. I'll second that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Please proceed. Thank you. And Councilmember, I echo your sentiments. Betho is a great person and a great person in our community, and she also was an outstanding person, an extrovert, and wanted to be there to celebrate a great day. So
Terrible.
thank you, Councilmember.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I would move that we move to approve the reports and recommendations of the city manager.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Second. Got a motion and a second for the approval of the recommendations for city manager. Anyone want to pull any of the items for individual consent or individual discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Please proceed.
can you please pull item number 5, item number 6, and item number 9?
Okay. Hold on one second, please. So, Councilmember Stewart, item number 5, item number 6, and item number 9, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Please proceed.
Number 7, please.
Thank you. Okay. Councilmember Stewart, I'll let you do all 3 in a row so that you'll just have the floor.
Let's approve the consent agenda.
Yep. Hold on. Well, we do that after we do it. We do it now? Okay. So we've got a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda, absent of the items that have been pulled. With no further discussion, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Fears,
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Rowland.
Yes. And the consent agenda is approved with the items that are being pulled, and we'll discuss those individually. Councilmember Stewart pulled item number 5. Councilmember Stewart, please proceed.
I'll make a motion for approval on item number 5.
Okay.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second for approval on item number 5. Councilmember, please proceed.
Madam Acting City Clerk, City Manager, I apologize. Can we get a brief synopsis of this, like what we're going to use it for, how long the lifespan is, just anything you feel relevant?
Sure. Chief Dustman is actually here to answer any questions you might have, so.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Adam Dustman, Chief of Police for the Independence, Missouri Police Department. I appreciate the inquiry, Councilman Stewart. Also, in echoing Councilman Hobart's somber tone as the start, I also would like to acknowledge that yesterday we lost 2 Minnesota police officers in the Burnsville, Minnesota area, along with a firefighter paramedic in an incident. We know in this community the loss that those departments are feeling right now, both the fire department and the police department, and the broader community, as we've seen that tragedy in our community in recent years. I bring that up because it is germane to your question about what this will be used for. If you watched the national coverage yesterday, you would have seen mobile command units in multiple various forms deployed in the coverage of that incident. One incident, one tragedy, one successful outcome. Multiple of these assets were deployed. We have these incidents that unfortunately occur all too often in our own community, and we have been without this asset, this system, for well over 10 years. So we have allocated funding for this mobile command post, which is used in any critical incident any major crime scene or investigation, as well as any large-scale events. Most notably, we deploy a mobile command post during every single Santa Calagon Days festival, as well as the Independence Day celebration and other large-scale events right here in Independence. We mentioned the aftermath of the Super Bowl parade. That incident had mobile command post deployed to it by the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. That is what these units are for. They are the central nervous system for any sort of successful outcome in a critical incident or major incident. We have the World Cup coming up, and with those events and what the city chooses to do to attract those audiences, no doubt that will be part of a broader emergency management strategy. We also, any sort of a natural disaster as part of our emergency management strategy, or a, God forbid, a critical incident in a setting like a school where we have mass evacuations that need to be done, this asset becomes critical in those situations as well. Councilman Fears had posed some questions earlier last week, which I responded to on Friday. Just in this incident, or in our city alone, last year, our SWAT team was activated and called out 106 times during the year of 2023. This asset, part of this mobile command system, is essential and vital in the successful outcome of those incidents. Oftentimes, we're forced, without this equipment, to rely on an ad hoc incident command structure, utilizing various vehicles within a parking lot structure, as well as in more serious incidents, most notably like the Blue Ridge barricade that we had that lasted several days, we have to call on our neighbors in Kansas City or surrounding jurisdictions for borrowing theirs. And that is only dependent on, A, the unit's availability, and they're not using it for some other incident within their own jurisdiction. I want to also, I think, to your point, Councilman, this is important. This is not a special request by the police department or an extra unforeseen expense. This was put forth as part of the annual budget, as part of our capital improvements project, and went through an extensive vetting process by 3 separate publicly meeting bodies, one being the Public Safety Sales Tax Oversight Committee, who unanimously approved the purchase and acquisition of this system. Second, by the Planning Commission, who also unanimously approved the acquisition and purchase of this two mobile command system structure. And then the third and final is this body, the City Council, who approved as part of the annual budget this system. And I'm very, very proud that once that acquisition or that approval came and the budget was put in place on July 1st, our internal stakeholders, led by Deputy Chief Michelle Sumstead, went to work designing and evaluating what vendor was appropriate, what platform was appropriate, and what technology would be needed. They were able to tour and see many different units from surrounding police departments and jurisdictions, and so they settled on this vendor, LDV, and this platform, and then went to work tasking and building it specifically for our needs for this department. I am also proud to say that it came in right on budget with what was appropriated by the council, so no additional funding is necessary, and the fund balance is sufficient to support this purchase. Again, this is part of any modern policing strategy and system of a department of our size and our call volume. Most comparably for us, the cities of Columbia and Springfield have similar systems that we compare ourselves to. We are the second largest municipality on this side, the west side of the state, second to Kansas City. It is a vital piece of equipment and necessary and long overdue.
Thank you, Chief. So what's the life of this vehicle, and if it's approved tonight, how long will it be before we receive it?
It's usually, just like our fire apparatus, an 18 to 24-month lead time on big, large chassis, heavy equipment. And we are in the build queue. If this was not approved tonight, we would fall out of that queue and have to start that process over again. The lifespan of this asset is 20 years minimally. We have, again, pieced together, we're currently using an asset that was an 06 asset that is the DWI van. The technology inside of that is long outdated and reached its end of useful life, and it was not designed for this purpose. But again, as part of that ad hoc strategy, we're trying to make it work for service for our community.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Anyone else other questions on item number 5? Okay. Seeing no other questions, there is a motion and a second on the table. If there's no further discussion, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Fears?
Yes.
Perkins?
Yes.
Stewart?
Yes.
Hobart?
Yes.
Mayor Rowland?
Yes. And the item is approved, 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Councilmember Stewart, please proceed with.
I'll make a
Item number-
motion to approve item number 6.
Okay, there's a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Councilmember, please proceed.
Madam City Manager, can you give a brief synopsis of this as well and what all it entails?
Sure. So this is the design contract for the Nolan Road multimodal project that we discussed previously in a study session. This project is the recipient of a $10.16 million RAISE grant. And the point of the project is to look at adding bike lanes and sidewalks and making the section of Nolan Road from 24 Highway to Fair ADA compliant and available, provide facilities for non-vehicular travel. The first component of this study would be the traffic study that we discussed also in that same study session. So just updating the numbers associated with traffic along that particular corridor of Nolan and making sure that those work with the plan. And so that was the first step that we discussed, and then we would come back to council to discuss the findings of the traffic study and then proceed with design from there.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have. Very good questions. I just want to, actually, this is the one that would actually take Nolan Road and it would actually reduce the lanes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is this federal money that's being paid for this, or?
Yes, it's a federal RAISE grant.
Okay. All right. I'm going to be voting no on this just because I do not believe that we should be reducing the lanes there in that area. I understand it's federal money, but it's still tax money. So anyway, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Just a question on that.
Please proceed.
Is this designed to reduce the lanes a foregone conclusion, or is that part of this, this process?
That would be part of the process. If the traffic data doesn't support the lane reduction, then obviously we would circle back up and discuss options going forward and other alternatives.
Okay.
So that decision, the design of the project has absolutely not been completed.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Please proceed.
thank you. From having some brief discussions with you, some of the initial traffic counts and stuff that we used to maybe submit for this and retrieve the RAISE grant, we're going to review, redo, look at those because they may have been during the COVID time when the lockdown was going, so the traffic was not as heavy. So after we reevaluate this, that'll give us the opportunity to see what the feasibility of this is. And if we need to not move forward with it, then that's an alternative that we have in our back pocket.
Correct. And that was the commitment to this body, was that once the traffic study was complete, we would bring it back for review.
Sure. Thank you.
Anyone else? Other further discussion? Okay. Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll on item number 6.
Fears,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
No.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Rowland.
Yes. And item number 6 is passed, 4 in favor, 1 opposed. Councilmember Stewart, item number 9.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 9.
We've got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Councilmember, please proceed.
Once again, can we get just a synopsis on what this is and what it's going to be used for?
Sure. So the at council's request, the future governance of IPL is under study right now with a firm called DKMT. And this is a separate piece that council had also asked for public engagement and for us to get out and discuss with the residents and the businesses what those two options look like. And the options being obviously potential sale of IPL or keeping it a municipally owned utility. So basically this is just that public engagement piece alone. So it will help us engage when we get the results of the study, go out, meet with those residents, and educate and inform what the study says prior to that being put on the ballot.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Please proceed.
So if I'm correct, then what you're saying is that this will take the information that that DKMT brings to us. It'll help us disseminate it in the community and prepare the community for the vote that we have, to provide them the information for the vote that we have indicated a desire for relative to IPL. Is that correct?
Correct.
Well, I think it's critical that we provide that information out to the community. I mean, that's the whole crux of the whole thing, in my mind, so that people can make an educated decision. So I know we've talked about this, and I appreciate the explanation. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor,
Please proceed.
so in the past, I've been totally against any selling IPL, and I still am. However, the process has already been started, and we do need to get the information out to the citizens once we get the reports back. So I will be voting yes on that for that reason only. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any further discussion on item number 9? If no further discussion, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Fears,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Rowland.
Yes. Item number 9 is approved. 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Councilmember Perkins?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. City Manager, can you explain just a little bit about item number 7?
Sure. Item number 7 is about the Dayforce implementation, and it's actually something that we need to have tabled indefinitely. There was an error with the original PO amount, so the PO ran out, the money in that PO. However, the original amount that was entered was well below the amount that was originally approved by the council. So there is plenty of money still in the project that was originally appropriated by this body.
So
So
you're
there's no
requesting-
need for it at this point. So if it could be tabled indefinitely, that's all we would need,
Be postponed indefinitely.
or postponed.
Sure. Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion to postpone item number 7 indefinitely.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second to postpone item number 7 indefinitely. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll to postpone this item indefinitely on item number 7.
Fears,
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Rowland.
Yes. And this item is tabled indefinitely. Item number 7 indefinitely. 5 in favor and 0 opposed. And this will bring us to the regular agenda. And Madam City Clerk, please read 24006.
24006, second reading, an ordinance approving a final plat for Redwood Independence in Independence, Missouri. Second reading.
Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll on 24006.
Fears,
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Rowland.
Yes. Item number 24006 is approved, 5 in favor, 0 opposed. That brings us to 24007. Madam City Clerk, please proceed.
24007, second reading, an ordinance adopting amendments to the fiscal year 2023 through 2024 budget, which was approved by ordinance number 19453. Second reading.
Any discussion on this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Please proceed.
so in looking at the ordinance on this, in section 3, it says increased appropriations in the amount of $900,000 from the police use tax for various tourism-related items. Madam City Manager, I'm assuming, I think that may be a mistake. Would that be correct?
It is that, it's correct in the background data that was actually for the body-worn cameras and
Okay.
for public safety-related expenses.
Right, but it's incorrect in the ordinance itself, so.
Correct, so
that's-
it would need to be amended.
Okay. So rather than amending it, I want to actually make a motion to postpone this until the next regularly scheduled meeting to make sure we get the exact verbiage correct.
We've got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. We've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Please proceed.
I would much rather amend it and just pass it, but I think that's more efficient, but I'm fine if Councilmember Stewart wants to vote on it later.
Okay. My question, if I may, Madam City Manager, is if we postpone this, does that have any impact on the POs or anything like that that we're doing? So, okay. I just want to make sure that if we postpone it, it doesn't put any grind in the gears.
This is just a true-up that we do periodically throughout the year.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with the council member. I would like to see this so the public sees it in correct format, there's no questions in the public's mind to see how it's done. So I will be voting in favor of postponing it to the next council meeting. Any further discussion?
And to be clear, that would be the March 4th council meeting.
Okay, and everybody's good with that being done at that time? Okay, if everybody's good, thank you. Any further discussion from council members? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll on 24007.
Fears,
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Rowland.
Yes, and 24007 is postponed until the March 4th meeting, and we get everything all lined up. Perfect. Madam City Clerk, can you please read the first readings?
24008, first reading, an ordinance finding, determining, and declaring the necessity of acquiring general utility easements for the 24 Highway and River Water Main Replacement Project, project number 9749, authorizing the negotiation and eminent domain proceedings if necessary, approving the plans and specifications for the project, authorizing the use of experts as needed, authorizing and directing the execution of documents and the payment of funds to property owners or others holding property rights in conjunction with the project. First reading. 24009, first reading, an ordinance approving a rezoning from District R12 two-family residential to R30/PUD high-density residential to District R6 single-family residential for the property at 625 North Lakeview Avenue. First reading. 24-010, first reading, an ordinance approving a rezoning from District R18/PUD moderate density residential to District R6 single-family residential for the property at 1220 North Dickinson Road. First reading. 24011, first reading, an ordinance approving a rezoning from District BP/PUD Business Park/Planned Unit Development and District C2/PUD General Commercial Planned Unit Development to District I1 Industrial for the property at the southeast corner of M78 Highway and Little Blue Parkway. First reading. 24012, first reading, an ordinance approving a rezoning from District BP/PUD Business Park/Planned Unit Development and District C2/PUD General Commercial Planned Unit Development to District BP/PUD Business Park/Planned Unit Development and approving a preliminary development plan for the property located at the Little Blue Parkway, Truman Road, and M78 Highway intersections. First reading. 24-013, first reading, an ordinance authorizing a contract with the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services to provide financial assistance for the local public health agency accreditation assistance grant program for the period of December 1st, 2023 through November 30th, 2024, accepting funds for the period in the amount of $176,000, authorizing future change orders for additional funding and/or time extensions for the same project, and authorizing certain future appropriations. First reading.
Thank you very much. That brings us to councilmember comments. Councilmember Stewart.
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Perkins.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Fears.
Just a couple quick things, a couple of things that have happened since we met last. We last week commissioned 4 new police officers. That was a good thing, and appreciate their commitment to our city and the work that they do and that all of our first responders do. And secondly, just before this meeting was an open house for Transportation for All for Independence. Went to that and had a chance to view some of the ideas and things that they are discussing relative to improving transportation options for the citizens. And so they are looking for feedback. So as there is opportunity to do that, please take advantage of that because they're looking for feedback on that. And I think that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Hobart.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to give a very, very sincere thanks to IPL. We have a brand-new sidewalk on the north side of 40 Highway, all the way from Sterling to Blue Ridge Cutoff, and that is an area of town that needs a lot of work. So we were very lucky, thanks to Ms. Reynolds and staff, to get a grant, state money to help pay for that. MoDOT did. However, nowhere in there, I guess, what we've learned afterwards was their money to pay for lighting. And that has been one of the biggest problems along that stretch of highway. There have been a number of people hit by cars and killed or injured crossing 40 Highway at night every year there's somebody or more than one somebody's. And IPL has taken it upon themselves to install lighting. They've begun that project, or will be soon, and I just got to tell you, you have thrilled the residents of the 4th District, and that will genuinely finish off what's a really nice project. So talk about making the city nicer. So we're very thankful. It's really great. The second thing I want to mention was, it's really fun. My dad and I really enjoyed watching the Chiefs win. Obviously, everybody else here did too, I'm sure. But, in football, a game of football is much different than running a city. But from time to time, me included, there's a lesson to be learned from Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and just the attitude and the competitive fire and to approach your job and your day-to-day business with all the odds against you and just never have any doubt that you're going to get it done when literally no one else believes in you. And we see that all the time. We see the Kansas City Star beating on us. We get the TV beating on us. We get other places not even talking about us or ignoring us. We get, Independence gets beat up a lot. And we need to remember, all of us, and a lot of us do, but we need to all remember, we stick together, we believe, we'll get this thing done, So, thank you. Thanks for all your hard work. Appreciate you filling in for Zach tonight, too, Ms. Reynolds.
Thank you. And I don't have anything further to say. Assistant City Manager, would you like any closing remarks?
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
Very good. With that being said, we'll call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.